Are you confused about what procedural programming really is? Today, we're going to break it down in a way that's easy to understand and show you how it forms the foundation for many modern programming languages. Welcome back to Programming with AI, where we simplify programming concepts and make learning easier for everyone. In today's episode, we'll dive into procedural programming, a programming paradigm that's fundamental to understanding many coding languages like C, Pascal, and even Python. Let's get started. What is procedural programming? Procedural programming is a programming paradigm centered around the concept of procedure calls, also known as routines, subroutines, or functions. In simpler terms, it's all about breaking a program down into small, manageable sections or procedures that accomplish specific tasks. For example, if you were building a program to manage a store's inventory, you might have a procedure to add new items, another to update item quantities, and one to generate sales reports. Each of these procedures can be written independently, making your code easier to manage, debug, and scale. Key features of procedural programming. 1. Sequential execution. Procedural programming follows a step-by-step linear approach. The code runs from top to bottom, executing instructions in the order they are written, unless specified otherwise by loops or conditionals. 2. Reusability with functions. One of the most powerful aspects of procedural programming is the ability to reuse code. By creating functions or procedures, you can write a block of code once and call it whenever needed without having to rewrite the same logic repeatedly. This reduces redundancy and makes the code more organized. 3. Global and local variables. Procedural programming differentiates between global variables, which are accessible throughout the entire program, and local variables, which are only accessible within the scope of a function. This helps keep your program organized and reduces errors caused by unwanted variable interference. 4. Modularity. Procedural programming encourages modularity, meaning you can split your program into smaller sections, procedures that handle different tasks. This makes it easier to maintain and debug your code because each section can be tested independently. Advantages of procedural programming. 1. Simplicity. Procedural programming is straightforward, making it easy to learn, especially for beginners. It follows a clear flow from start to finish, helping you understand how a program works. 2. Efficiency in small projects. For small to medium-sized projects, procedural programming is highly efficient. It allows you to quickly write functional code without worrying about the overhead of object-oriented principles like inheritance or polymorphism. 3. Easy to debug and maintain. Since procedural programs are written in a linear, step-by-step manner, they are easier to debug and troubleshoot. If there's an error, you can track the program flow to isolate the problem. Limitations of procedural programming. 1. Less scalable. While procedural programming works well for smaller projects, it can become difficult to manage in larger, more complex programs. As your program grows, you might find it harder to maintain and extend the code due to the increasing number of procedures and variables. 2. Repetition of data. In procedural programming, data and procedures are often separate. This can sometimes lead to redundancy, where you have to repeatedly pass the same data to different procedures. 3. Limited flexibility for large applications. Procedural programming can be limiting when dealing with large, complex applications that require more abstraction, which is where object-oriented programming often becomes a better choice. Conclusion. In summary, procedural programming is a powerful, foundational paradigm that is still widely used today. Its simplicity and focus on reusability and modularity make it an excellent choice for small to medium projects. However, as your projects grow in complexity, you may want to explore other paradigms like object-oriented programming. If you're new to programming, mastering procedural programming is a great first step in your coding journey. Thank you for watching this episode of Programming with AI. If you enjoyed learning about procedural programming, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more programming tutorials and tips. Until next time, keep coding.